All right, so here are the answers to those monitoring progress questions. So pause your video, check and make sure you got those correct. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit more about complex numbers. So a complex number written in standard form is a plus bi, where a and b are real numbers. So the number a is the real part of the number, and the number bi is the imaginary part. Right? So a is just a real number, and bi has that imaginary part to the number. So let's go to the next page. We know that two complex numbers, a plus bi and c plus di, are equal if and only if a equals c, so their real numbers equal each other, and b equals d, and so the imaginary parts are equal to each other. So let's do an example where we need to find values of x and y that satisfy the equation 2x minus 7i equals 10 plus yi. So what we're going to do is set the real parts equal to each other and the imaginary parts equal to each other, because we know that we need a and b or a and c to be equal. So our real parts, we have 2x and 10. So we're going to say 2x has to equal 10. And then we need to solve for x. So to get x by itself, we're just going to divide by 2. We get x equals 5. And so that's our x value. Next, we're going to look at our imaginary parts. So we have negative 7i plus yi. So if we set those equal to each other, equals yi, well, we can divide out our I. So we get negative 7 equals y. And that would be your answer for y. So our two values of x and y, we have x equals 5, y equals negative 7. Okay, so pause your video for a second and try these monitoring progress questions, and then check your answers before we move on. So for number 9, you should have got x equals 9 and y equals negative 3. For number 6, x equals negative 9 halves and y equals 3/4. Okay, so now let's talk about adding and subtracting complex numbers. So to add or subtract two complex numbers, you're going to add or subtract their real parts and their imaginary parts separately. Okay, so let's look at an example of this. So for part A, we have 8 minus I plus 5 plus 4i. Okay, so we're adding two different complex numbers together. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our real parts. So 8 plus 5. And then we're going to add our imaginary parts. So negative I plus 4i. And our final answer, 8 plus 5 is 13. Negative I plus 4i will be 3i. So that's what our answer is. Okay, let's do another example. For B, we have 7 minus 6i minus 3 minus 6i. So this time, notice that we have our minus instead of plus. So when we do our real numbers, we're going to do 7 minus 3 instead of plus. And then our imaginary, we have negative 6i minus negative 6i. And we all know minus and negative means plus 6i. Okay, negative 6i plus 6i, those are going to cancel. So our answer is 7 minus 3, which is 4. Okay, and one more example. So for C, we have 13 minus 2 plus 7i plus 5i. Okay, so first we're going to combine our real parts. So we have 13 minus 2. 13 minus 2. And then we need to do our 7i plus 5i. But we have to remember we were subtracting our 7i, right? We have that minus. So really we're doing negative 7i plus 5i. Okay, so 13 minus 2 is 11. Negative 7i plus 5i is minus 2i. All right, so we're not going to do example number 4, but you can use this space to do these monitoring progress questions, and then I'll give you the answers in the next video.